Drip, drip, drip. I eyed the icicle hanging from the roof with mixed emotions. The snow was melting, which meant spring was hovering on the horizon, tense to pounce the moment that winter let its guard down. When that happened, it meant that the team would be going back into Jahir to search for magicians again. It would also mean that I was out of Gwyn's immediate reach. Right now, I wasn't sure which one I preferred. In the 4 months that I had been home, I had gotten very little rest. Because of the thick snows covering the roads, I was one of the few magicians that could travel around the country. The fact that I was faster than more conventional methods was just an added bonus. And if the situation demanded skills other than mine, well, then I got to take whatever witch or wizard that needed to go somewhere by way of the earth path. Most days I wasn't sure if I was coming or going. I hadn't had time to shop for a house, much less use any of my vacation time. Night definitely had a point. Being accessible to Gwyn is not conducive to a peaceful lifestyle. This was one of those rare moments when I was home, not in my own apartment at the palace, but at my parents' home, without an emergency hanging over my head. "Garth," my mother's voice called from the front door. "There's a message for you." I eyed the back door, only feet away from me, and judged whether or not I could make it outside before she could catch me. On this wooden floor, I couldn't jump into the earth path like I wanted to. However, once outside, I could disappear into the earth, and no one could find me there. "It's not from Gwyn," she added, voice rich with amusement. What, the woman reads minds now? But if it wasn't from Gwyn, who was it from? My stomach had no real desire to leave the warm, fragrant air of the kitchen. The rest of me ignored my greedy stomach. Curiosity compelled me out of my chair and away from my breakfast into the front room. "Whose seal is on it?" "There's no seal," she denied as she handed it over. Actually, there was. She just didn't recognize it as such. There was a complicated braid of silver string, black leather, and rich mahogany hair wrapped around the parchment. I recognized it instantly. This is Roha of Del's braid. Now why would she be contacting me in the dead of winter? She often sent letters inquiring how Trevnor was doing, but not during the months where it was nearly impossible to get letters through, and I had just sent her a long letter about Trevnor 3 months ago. "The Tonkawakan woman that raised Trevnor." Mom stared at the letter in my hands with renewed interest. "This must be very important for her to send a letter in winter." Very important or very dire. I didn't say that aloud. I knew better than to try and unravel that braid. It was more likely that I'd tangle my own fingers attempting it. So I used my own belt knife to just cut it off. The parchment was a bit wet at one corner, but as I unrolled it, I was relieved to find nothing smudged or illegible. "Garth, I received your last letter. Thank you for telling this old woman what her adopted son has gotten into. I can tell he is adjusting fine. A year ago, when I gave him to you, I had not expected to find anyone to properly train the boy. There is much that I still have, things that belong to his parents that I've kept over the years. While you are in Hain, come see me. I wish to tell you what little I know of the boy's parentage and history. Your last letter indicated that bloodlines of mages are very important. I have some evidence of what Trevnor's heritage is. I wish I could be more specific, but they are in Chihirese, and that is not a language that I can read. But I trust that you can, eh? Travel toward the Boran Mountains, just northwest of Dward, and you'll find our camp. Bring Trevnor with you. I want to see the rascal. Roha of Del." I felt like my breath had been knocked out of me. Trevnor was Chihiran? Or at least all the evidence pointed in that direction. I lowered the letter so that I could look at my mother's face. "I need to go to Roha of Del as quickly as possible,"